This is an extraordinary story about an ordinary boy. A boy who lived in an extraordinary place. A place that smelled like salt and secrets. Secrets hidden in the sand and the sea, waiting for someone to discover them. Someone like Leo. It was an old seaside village, a place where the houses looked like shells and the streets were as narrow as clams. The houses were huddled together as if they were gossiping in hushed tones, sharing stories carried on the wind. The sea here was as blue as a sailor's dream, and as restless as a mermaid's heart. Fishermen mended their nets on rickety docks, and children chased each other through the maze of cobbled streets, their laughter echoing between the buildings like the cries of gulls. Leo was an ordinary boy. He had sandy hair that matched the color of the cliffs and eyes as green as the sea after a storm. He loved exploring the nooks and crannies of the village, listening to the tales of weathered fishermen and watching the sun paint the sky in purple every evening. One day, while playing by the shore, Leo stumbled upon something strange. The sea had given him a present, something small, hard, and cold. He brushed off the sand to reveal a key. It was made of iron, about 8 inches long, heavy and cold to the touch. One side had intricate carvings that looked like waves crashing into a cliff, while the other was smooth and worn from years of turning in a lock. The key was old, older than the weathered face of the cliffs that stood like silent giants along the coast. Leo had always been curious, a trait inherited from his grandfather, a man who knew every nook and cranny of the village and every tale woven into its fabric. So when Leo found the key, he knew he had to uncover its secrets. He ran home, the key clutched tightly in his hand, eager to share his discovery with his grandmother. His grandmother was an enigma, a woman whose wrinkles held more stories than the pages of an ancient book. She had a way of making even the most ordinary day feel like an adventure. And her house was filled with trinkets that hinted at faraway lands and forgotten times. When she saw the key, her eyes, which were the color of the sea on a stormy day, widened. "That symbol," she whispered, her voice like the rustling of dry leaves. "It belongs to the lighthouse." The lighthouse stood alone on the farthest edge of the cliffs, a solitary sentinel against the relentless sea. It was old, its paint peeling like sunburnt skin, and its windows were vacant eyes staring out to sea. For generations, the lighthouse had guided ships away from the treacherous rocks that lay hidden beneath the waves, its beam a beacon of hope in the darkest of nights. But now it stood abandoned, a relic of a bygone era. Or so everyone thought. As a child, Leo had been fascinated by the lighthouse. His grandfather had told him tales of its former keeper, a man with a heart as big as the sea and a spirit as untamed as the winds that whipped around the tower. But when the ships began to disappear and the new inventions that promised to guide ships more efficiently, the lighthouse was left behind, forgotten like an old sailor's tale. Leo stared at the key in his hand. He felt a sense of wonder and a touch of fear. The lighthouse was a place of mystery and legend, and he was about to unlock its secrets. With the key in his pocket, Leo set off towards the lighthouse, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The path to the lighthouse was steep and rocky, but Leo was eager to reach the top. As he climbed, the sound of the sea grew louder, crashing against the rocks below like a constant reminder of the lighthouse's purpose. When he reached the top, he found the door ajar, creaking in the salty breeze. He pushed it open, and the musty smell of decay and dust hit him like a wave. The interior was dark, the air thick with the scent of ages past. As his eyes adjusted to the gloom, he saw a spiral staircase winding upwards into the darkness, disappearing into the belly of the lighthouse. With the key in hand, Leo stepped inside. Each step on the staircase echoed in the stillness, amplifying the pounding of his heart. The air grew colder, sending shivers down his spine. The walls were bare, except for a few faded paintings that depicted stormy seas and lonely ships seeking solace in the lighthouse beam. The stairs ended at a heavy wooden door, its surface worn smooth by countless footsteps. This, Leo knew, must be the entrance to the lantern room. Taking a deep breath, he inserted the key. It fit perfectly. With a click, the door swung inward, revealing a circular room bathed in golden light. The sight before him was breathtaking. In the center stood a magnificent brass lantern, its intricate design reflecting the light that streamed in through the tall windows. Outside, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the room. As Leo moved closer to the lantern, its size and weight truly revealed themselves. It was enormous, its base resting on a stone platform, its towering frame reaching towards the ceiling as if trying to touch the stars. Intricate gears and levers adorned the lantern, hinting at the complex mechanism that once guided lost sailors home. But it wasn't just the lantern that caught Leo's attention. On the far wall, he noticed a heavy wooden chest bound with iron, its surface covered in dust. He walked towards it, his heart pounding with anticipation. As he neared the chest, he noticed a carving on its surface. It was the same design as the key, waves crashing against a cliff. He inserted the key into a keyhole hidden beneath the carving and turned. The lid creaked open, revealing a sight that made Leo gasp. Inside the chest, there was no treasure in the form of gold or jewels, only more keys, stacks of old yellowed maps, and a leather-bound journal. The maps were marked with faded ink, depicting uncharted waters and hidden coves. Some had annotations in a spidery script that hinted at danger, and others showed safe havens for weary sailors. The journal was filled with entries in a language that seemed both familiar and strange. As Leo began to decipher the words, he felt a connection to the lighthouse's past keeper. He learned that the lighthouse had once been a beacon of hope for sailors, guiding them through treacherous waters. The keeper's entries spoke of lonely nights, of storms that threatened to engulf the lighthouse, and of the joy when ships reached safety because of the light he tended so diligently. Leo also discovered a small key ring attached to the journal. On it hung several keys, each one different, yet all bearing the same symbol as the main key. One entry in particular stood out. The keeper had written about a special key, a key that could unlock the lighthouse's full potential, allowing its light to shine brighter than any other, ensuring that no ship would ever be lost on his watch. He had hidden this key along with other treasures in case of an emergency, trusting that whoever came after him would understand the importance of the lighthouse and its mission. Leo realized that the lighthouse wasn't just a relic of the past. It was a living legacy, a testament to his family's unwavering spirit, and he knew what he had to do. With the journal tucked under his arm and the keyring in his pocket, Leo descended the stairs and stepped back into the daylight. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the cliff tops. He looked up at the lighthouse, its silhouette stark against the darkening sky. He spent the next few days poring over the journal and maps, deciphering the cryptic entries and faded ink. He learned about secret coves and hidden passages along the coast, places known only to a few. He also discovered that the lighthouse had once been a part of a larger network of beacons, a system designed to protect those at sea. When he was done, he felt a sense of purpose, a feeling that he was part of something bigger than himself. It was time to restore the lighthouse and reignite its purpose. With the help of the villagers, he cleaned and polished the lantern until it shone brightly, its beam cutting through the darkness like a sword. He repaired the walls, touched up the faded paint, and made the lighthouse look as proud and strong as it had on the day it was built. On the night of the full moon, when the sea was at its calmest, Leo lit the lantern. Its light spread far across the water, reaching out to ships that might need its guidance. As the beam of the lighthouse swept across the horizon, the villagers watched with pride and gratitude. They knew that they had brought a piece of their history back to life, and they had ensured that no sailor would ever be lost along these shores again. Leo stood beside his grandmother as they watched the lighthouse beam dance on the waves. He felt a sense of accomplishment, knowing that he had unlocked the secrets of the lighthouse and restored its purpose. But he also knew that he had unlocked something else, a sense of belonging, a connection to his family's past and to the sea that had always called to him.